Hello learners, I am Dr. M.K.Bhardwaj from School of Engineering and Technology, and today we will discuss about the safety in excavations. Till now we have discussed about the challenges in underground construction, then risks in underground construction, then we also discussed about the safety initiatives, international as well as national. Then we also discussed about the general safety provisions. In these discussions, I told you that there are some codes, IS codes regarding safety. Just have a glimpse on this. These are IS 4756 1978, Safety Code for Tunneling Work, IS 3764, which is Safety Code for Excavation Work. Then another one is IS 4081, which is Safety Code for Blasting and Related Dealing Operations. Another one is IS 4138, which is related to safety for working on compressed air. Then IS 7293, which is Safety Code for working with construction machinery. So these are some of the codes related to the safety in underground construction. Now we will discuss about the safety in excavation. So before knowing the safety in excavations, basically let us know what are the risks in excavation work. First of all, when we are excavating, there is a chance of collapsing of soil. And because of this collapse, the workers may bury under the soil. And this may be very harmful to the workers basically. In the sense, you can understand that the weight of soil, which you may not assume that this is around, on an average, if I talk about, 1 cubic meter of soil weighs around 1700 kg. This is on an average, varying from 1000 kg per meter cube to the 2000 kg per meter cube, depending upon the type of the soil. For different type of soil, the density is different. But if we take an average, then on an average, 1 cubic meter of the soil will weigh around 1700 kg, that much of weight basically. So if somebody is buried under that soil, so it may be very fatal. The worker may lose their life. So that may be the reason why it is very harmful, why it is risky basically. Second risk is materials falling from the sides into the excavation. Apart from that soil, with the excavated soil which you have placed, the workers have placed by the side of the trench or the excavation, there may be some materials, some tools, equipments or some other materials. They also may fall by chance into that excavation where the workers are working. So again, this may cause a fatal accident basically. Third one is the situation where the people or plant falling into the excavation. Plant means here the machineries, and the people means the workers as well as the other persons who are not the workers. They may be related to some inspection work or general public. Sometimes because of that, out of curiosity, they come and see that what is going on there. So if such situations are there, they may also fall into this trench or the excavation. The next risk is related to the inflow of ground and the surface water. Sometimes what happens that when we are excavating, we may meet with some groundwater source which may be at a higher level basically. So from that there may be a water flowing to the trench or excavation basically. Or if there is sudden rain or some water coming from some source at the surface, it may also come into that excavation or the trench where the workers are working basically or excavating. So this is one of the risk which may be associated with the excavation work. Another risk is related to that gases. Sometimes we don't know what is there inside the earth basically. So accidentally we may meet with some source of gas which may be toxic basically. So which may pose problems to the health problems to the workers basically. Then there may be explosions. Explosions due to some explosive gases or some other reasons, there may be some explosions. So these are some of the risks which are associated with the excavation work basically. So keeping in view these risks, we will then decide that what precautions should be taken to make the excavation work safe basically. In addition to this, there is a situation when we call the excavation work as a high risk work. This situation is that if we are excavating more than 1.5 meter, any excavation which is more than 1.5 meter deep, then this will be classified as a high risk work or the high risk excavation work. So if we are doing some work or excavating in some situations, then all these things are very risky and proper care should be taken before excavation. There should be some planning regarding different things, different methods we have to do basically, and all the things required to make the work site safe for the workers, that should be done. So this is the purpose basically for today's discussion. Now, how we make the excavation safe? For safety, actually planning is very important. So any work which we are doing, if we want to do with a safe environment or in safe conditions basically, so that safety measures start with the planning basically. That what is to be excavated, where to be excavated, how to be excavated. So all these things we have to plan. And then once we decide that where excavation is to be done, how it is to be done, then we have to look the conditions of that site basically. That what is there, what may be found there in the during that excavation. So we have to be ready for all those things. So in planning, the most important thing is basically the method of excavation, whether we are going to do the manual excavation or we are going to use the machinery or plants basically. Accordingly, we have to take the safety measures. Then second is type of work, whether it is a open excavation, you are making a trench, or you are doing excavation for tunneling, because these two things are also very different things. Very different situations are there in these two things. If we are going for an open trench and if we are going for a tunnel work basically, so challenges are different, and accordingly if challenges are different, we have to take the different safety measures basically. So we have to first plan, think, and accordingly take some safety measures basically. Then check the stability of the ground. Stability of the ground means that you know that the soil has a very peculiar characteristic, any material, not only soil, that they have their natural slope basically for stability. If we are increasing that slope by cutting or by storing that material, some material, then that heap will not be stable. If we are cutting in excavation, if we are cutting at a slope which is higher than that natural slope of that particular soil, then certainly that slope will become unstable. So for that matter, we have to see the characteristics of the soil, and accordingly we have to look for that what is the natural slope of that soil or earth there, and accordingly we should plan that any cutting should not be more than that slope, which is a natural slope of for stability of that earth there or the soil there. As you can see here in this figure, basically you see that this is the slope here, and in this slope this is basically a slope made here, but natural slope is this basically, so it may fail at this surface. If this is a natural slope or the maximum allowed slope for a particular soil, then it may fail at this surface basically, because our slope is more than the natural allowed slope for a particular soil for the properties of the particular soil. So that way we have to see the stability of the soil or the ground there at the site of excavation. Now, assessment of effect on adjoining or the nearby buildings is very necessary, because when we are excavating, so there will be some disturbance to the existing buildings, structures or roads, whatever built environment is there, there will be some disturbance. Why is this disturbance is there? Basically there are two phenomena basically, that any structure is supported by the soil basically, and this soil grains are taking that load of the structure, and when this is only not the soil underneath, just underneath the structure or the foundation of the structure, it is also the adjoining soil which is taking part in the load distribution basically. So if we are cutting or disturbing the nearby soil, just near the foundation of some other structure or the building basically, so what will happen there, that there will be a soil relaxation. Soil relaxation means that we have removed the lateral support to the soil from the adjoining area, then this soil will lose its strength basically. Then what will happen, there will be a horizontal as well as the vertical movement, means that soil may be consolidated, it may be deflected downward basically, and because of that this structure will feel a distress, means cracks may occur, or if large deformation takes place in the soil basically, so there may be a collapse of the building also. So that is the soil relaxation, that because of that lateral support or lateral restraints basically, the soil is now relaxing, and because of that there will be a deformation downward. Second thing is that in the soil basically, along with the soil particles there are pores basically, and these pores, if they are filled with water basically, then what will happen, that if we are making a trench side by the side of that foundation, then that water may seep into the trench, and once the water is removed from that soil, then what will happen, that it will be compressed, the soil will get compressed, and there will be a settlement of the soil again basically. So because of the two things, one is soil relaxation, second is that removal of water from the soil, these two things may cause the settlement of the foundation, and ultimately it will affect the stability or the health of the structures which are existing adjoining to the excavation being done basically. So we have to check that the proper distance is maintained, or if proper distance is not maintained, then some support is provided to the foundation of the existing structures basically. So that safety we have to look for basically. You just look at this foundation here of the structure, and the general thumb rule says that the distance of the excavation or the trenching should be that from the edge of this foundation, this distance slope may be 1 vertical to 2 horizontal. Means if you are excavating 1 meter, then it should be your trench or excavation should be 2 meters away from the foundation. If you are excavating 3 meter, then 3 to just 6 meters away. The trench should be 6 meters away. Otherwise, it will affect the stability of this foundation, because due to the two processes, soil relaxation and the lowering of the groundwater. So if this excavation is to be done in loose sandy soil, then instead of 1 vertical to 2 horizontal, then this becomes more, the distance becomes more here. For 1 vertical distance, then we should maintain at least 3 horizontal. Means if we are excavating for 2 meter vertically, then at least 2, 3, just 6 meters away. This trench should be 6 meters away for the safety of this structure. If this distance cannot be maintained, in that situation, we have to provide proper support to this foundation and the soil, so that there is no effect on the adjoining structure. So this is the all about that assessment of effect on the adjoining or the nearby buildings or structures. Then another thing which generally we find under the ground is the utilities, basically public utilities. So position of these public utilities, such as the underground sewers, gas pipelines, water pipelines, and electrical conductors, means the electric cables basically. So their position should be verified, where these are. And before start of any excavation work, some arrangement has to be made for these public utilities. Either they have to be shifted to some other place, or some other arrangement has to be made. What other arrangements may be there? That if necessary, along in addition to that shifting, basically the gas, water or the electric utilities, these should be shut off or disconnected. Because if they are in running position, so and if during the excavation, if some worker hits the gas pipeline, water pipeline or electrical cable, then there may be a big accident. So it is advisable that shut off or disconnect such public utilities before starting the excavation work. If these public utilities cannot be removed or disconnected, then what should be done? Proper fencing should be done. The wires, cables may be hung up, and there should be proper marking that these things should not be touched. There is a danger. So please make a safe excavation, keeping in view that danger from these things basically. Then position of bridges, temporary roads and other things which are there, that also should be properly marked basically, and all the workers that are involved in excavation, they should be properly told about these things basically, so that they can avoid any mishappening. Then before starting of excavation, some other works also has to be done, like clearing of trees, boulders and other obstructions. Because where we are doing the excavation, there may be some trees, existing trees, there may be some boulders basically, there may be some other obstructions. So these obstructions should be cleared, so that there is no accident while doing the excavation. Because if tree is there and it is coming in the excavation line basically, and the workers are doing the excavation with the existing tree, then tree may fall there and it may cause a very big accident, fatal accident basically. Then what we have to check, another thing is the contamination of the land. Before excavation, we should check whether the land is contaminated. There may be various chemicals which are hazardous. There may be some waste materials which are hazardous to the health of the workers. There may be some chemicals, there may be some gases, like a chemical which is generally earlier was used in construction was the asbestos. This is very harmful. So, and this material as a waste was dumped at some site, and at that particular site some excavation is being done. So there it may pose some health problems to the workers. So the earth where the excavation is to be done, the soil, that has to be checked for any contamination. If some contamination is there, so proper safety measures should be taken. Proper safety gears should be borne by these workers basically to safeguard them. Otherwise, exposure to such contaminated land may cause health problem to the workers. Another is that workers should be made aware of all type of hazards that may come into picture during the excavation, and proper training should be given to the workers that if some situation occur, some hazardous situation occur during the excavation, how they will safeguard them, how they will react basically. So proper prior training should be given to the workers so that there should not be any panic when they face some such situation basically, because panic will certainly aggravate the situation basically. So workers should be properly trained to avoid any panic situation. They should be aware that if this type of hazard is there, then what they have to do, how they should react basically. Such situation, how they can deal or handle such situation. That proper training should be given to the workers basically. Then another important thing is that sites of the excavation. That sites of the excavation should be thoroughly inspected and appropriate safety measures should be taken. You see here the one schematic of OSHA basically. This shows you the safety triangle, and what is there, you see that if you are excavating, then the sides should be properly sloped. Means the side of the excavation should be given a proper slope. The slope more than the allowed or the safe slope should not be given to the excavation. Second thing is, in addition to slope, second thing which is very important is shore it and shield it. Shoring and shielding, these are the two provisions to make the excavation, underground excavation or trenching, safe. Then I talked about that so many inspections are to be done. Then now question arises that when these inspections should be done. These inspections should be done daily prior to the each shift, first of all. Second thing, if there is some interruption in the work for more than one day, then also this inspection should be done. If some blasting operation is done, then after every blast operation, that proper inspection should be done, whether what is the situation of the site basically, whether any alarming situation is there, whether any unsafe situation has developed after blasting or not. Then if some unexpected fall of the ground happened there, then the site should be properly inspected. Also, if there are supports are provided in that excavated area, If some substantial damage occur to these supports, then also proper inspection of the site should be done. Then if there is some occurrence of the heavy rain, frost or snow, then after that occurrence also the stability of excavated area, slopes, that should be properly done. If there are some boulder formations are encountered during the excavation, then site should be properly inspected for safety point of view. So these are some of the points basically that if we keep in mind for planning and making the excavation area safe, then we can avoid many accidents and we can avoid any health hazard to the workers. Thank you for patient listening. We will continue our discussion in the next lecture.
पहाड़ों पर जाना किसे पसंद नहीं। इस तरह के पहाड़ तो आपने देखे ही होंगे। चलिए आज आपको विशेष प्रकार के पहाड़ों की सैर कराते हैं। ये हैं कूड़े के पहाड़, जिनके बोझ तले